Now I have these boards that I pulled out. They're in rough shape. I pulled them out of this stack of lumber. I'm sure it's been sitting there for quite a while. But anyways, this is going to be the source for the wheelbarrow. I'm going to start cutting up these boards and making a wheel. My first idea is to make a 12-inch diameter wheel by fastening these boards together and then cutting out a circle out of them. But I think I might go to maybe a larger wheel. I'm going to cut some boards for that, but I think a 12-inch wheel would be good, but maybe like a 16-inch wheel might be better. I'm going to cut some pieces for that. Some of this wood that's been in that pile over there, I don't know how long it's been there, but after cutting it, I know it's cedar by the way that it smells. It smells fantastic. But anyways, like the outside of it looks pretty rough, but the inside, you know, it looks good. Except for maybe on the ends and that, but I think I should be able to get quite a few wood projects out of that. Hi everyone. I'm continuing on with the wheelbarrow project. I'm using this joiner to clean up some of these pieces of wood. So I'm going to use a joiner and then the thickness planer, and we'll see how these turn out. I use the joiner to plane one surface and one edge for these pieces that are going to make up the wheel of the wheelbarrow. I'm going to run this side through the thickness planer, all these pieces here. Yeah, and then we'll have something that we can work with. That's from planing all these blocks right here. I planed them down to about 3/4 of an inch. But they turned out really nice, I think. I've got a groove there. I'm gonna have to sharpen up the blades of the thickness planer. But yeah, I'm happy with the way these turned out. It's good. Now that I have these planed, ready to go, I think what I'm going to do next is glue them up, let it dry. Now I'm going to glue them separately, but and then I'll be able to cut the circle out of these, and I'm going to make 3 of them and then fasten them together. Hopefully they'll be close. At least that's the idea anyways. And then so I'll have 3 separate circles, and then I can fasten the 3 circles together, and then that'll make up the wheelbarrow wheel. And I think if I crisscross them, that should make the wheelbarrow strong enough. Hi everyone. So I'm taking the clamps off now. I glued these up yesterday. So there we go. We've got a 16-inch by 16-inch square, and I've got 2 more of these, so I'm going to cut circles out of it, and then that'll make up the wheelbarrow wheel. I think you get the idea what I'm doing here. I'm going to pause the video. That didn't turn out so bad. I think our wheelbarrow wheel might have a little bit of a flat spot in places, but that's all right. I was thinking it would be kind of cool to make a wheel with some spokes in it, but maybe I'll do that another day. For right now, I just really want to get a wheelbarrow on site and get it working. I think it's going to help me out a lot. I have 3 of these now. I'm just going to use the belt sander just to clean up the faces of these. They're just a little bit too wide to fit through the thickness planer, so I'm going to use the belt sander just to clean them up a little bit. And I'm going to glue them, and then we're going to drill a hole for the axle. I switched from the belt sander to the palm sander. I just like the accuracy of this better than the belt sander. The belt sander is too aggressive and it moves the piece around too much. I'm using the palm sander just to knock off any of the high spots off of these so that when they get glued together, there'll be more surface area to glue. Now I've got the grains crisscrossing, so the grain on this one's running this way, and then this one is going to be running this way. And then I'm going to put screws in, also glue and screw, and that should keep this thing from falling apart. Some of the wheel, when I glued this together, had some like high spots and low spots, so I used the this flush router bit to go around. It kind of takes some of that out. It's not perfect, but I think that'll do for what I want to do with this wheelbarrow. This is the axle. It's 1 3/8. It's a poplar dowel. So I'm going to find a bit so I can bore out a hole here. I'm going to drill from both sides and then put this in. I was also thinking about maybe protecting this a little bit I'll have to think about that. I don't have an 1 3/8 spade bit, but I do have this Forstner bit, which is good for doing hinges. So it's going to work out. So I'm going to drill from this side, flip it over, and drill from the other side and see what happens. So the Forstner bit worked. Look at that. Okay, it's going to need some wax or something, but anyways, there we go. I think next up is coming up with the arms, and then figuring out a way to fasten this dowel to the arms. Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be milling up these boards. I've got I think about a dozen of them. They were 16 feet long. I've cut them in half, so they're 8 feet. I'm going to feed them through this thickness planer to clean them up, and then I'm going to use these to make the arms of the wheelbarrow and whatever else I might need it for, like to make the legs and the surface of the wheelbarrow. So that's kind of where we're at today. I'm going to run these through. I don't know if I'm going to film it because this machine is really loud. I guess I'll film some of it. Safety first. So this is what a thickness planer does. It takes the thickness of the material down, but it also provides like a nice smooth finish of the material. This is rough, and then there's a dressed side. I'm gonna run all this material through again to clean up this side. Normally you do it with a joiner, but I'm not gonna do that. But then I'll have both sides that are dressed, and I'll have 3/4 of an inch this board. This is probably about 1/4 of what was planed off of all those boards. There's like another 2 or 3 of these on the ground over there. I don't have a rake to rake up all this that fell on the ground. That might be another project. So what we have now are these boards that are milled up nice. I think what I'm going to do is glue them together, at least a couple of them together. So it's going to be 1.5 by 3.5. And then I'm going to fasten the axle to these boards. And then this will make up the arms. And then I'll be able to fasten the carrying boards across here. Anyways, that's the idea, and so far so good. I think it's going to look good when it's done. Hi everyone. So now I've got the arms of the wheelbarrow glued up. I'm going to run them through the joiner to clean up an edge, and then run them through the table saw so that I have a consistent measurement to work with. This is where we're at with the wheelbarrow build. I've got the arms cut. I have to decide on a length for them. I was thinking about 64 inches from the front to here would be good, but I think I'm going to cut it a little bit longer because I think it's easier to cut it shorter if I need to than try and remake these. So that'll give us enough to put a board across here to set the width at the front, have a bed to carry the material, and then a little bit of length here for the handles. That worked out to a little over 5 feet, but I think I'm going to cut it at 6, and then we'll see what happens. I have the arms cut to length now. At the end, this is going to be too wide for my hand to grab. So I'm going to cut out this section that I've marked out on the arm. So I'll be left with this section here, and I'll be able to grab it. I thought cutting it on an angle might be good. So I'm going to set up the miter saw to do that, and then I'm going to make this cut with the table saw. I have these cuts made now. This one I did with the miter saw, and then this one I did with the table saw. So the handle's actually going to be 1.5 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to round over everything so it's nice and comfortable for the hand. I left the thickness on here because I thought it'd be important to have the strength of the board. Yeah, so, oh, and I'm just going to go get a handsaw and just finish off the cuts. And then after that, we're going to figure out how to fasten the axle to these arms. The saw got most of the cut. I finished it off with just this, which is a Japanese trim saw. I'm just going to clean up this little bit here with some with the chisel. I'll do the same for the other one. The cut at the end of this ended up being at about 6 degrees. I laid it out in full on this plywood, and then I got that angle on this, and then I transferred this onto the miter saw, and I measured it off the miter saw. It says that it's 6 degrees. So that's what this cut and this cut ended up being. I'm going to transfer that onto here, and then this is going to be on the end. So it's going to look nice, and I can build back from there. I'm going to mark, pre-drill, and put some screws in the end. I'm not going to glue it in case I need to take it apart again. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I could start building back from there the rest of the wheelbarrow. I've got a couple of pieces of wood now fastened at the end. So that's going to help maintain the angle of the wheelbarrow. And so now I could figure out where I want to set this axle. Maybe I'll turn this around. I've got these two pieces of wood now fastened on the front. Now I need to figure out where I'm going to set this axle. I want it so that the wheel isn't going to rub against here. Maybe just a gross measurement would do. Yeah, I think if I set it about 12 inches back from the face of here, that'll give enough room for this wheel to clear. I'm setting the axle in place. I've cut these pieces with the angle on there so that the axle will sit straight across there. I've pre-drilled, and then I've cut these pieces which are going to go on top to actually hold this axle in place so that it won't fall off. I've got the axle in place now. I'm probably going to drill some holes and put some dowels in to stop it from shifting out this way. But let's see how this is going to work. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to put maybe a couple of dowels in to stop the wheel from shifting and the axle from falling out. But anyways, I guess I can flip this over now and start working on the bed. I'm working on these legs right now. I found that the angle coming off the front of the wheelbarrow, which I'm using this bevel to mark, is going to be the same angle that I need to cut as the arms are coming up. So I've just transferred that onto here, and then I've set that up on the miter saw. So I'm going to cut that angle, and then I'll show you how that's going to fit. So hopefully we could see this line right here. This line is plumb, and this one is perpendicular to this line. So I've cut this to fit right about there. These are the legs, and I've chamfered the bottom so that if they won't splinter as much when they touch the ground. I've been thinking about a way to brace these legs up. I'm thinking maybe the best way might be to fasten a block, attach it here, and then onto the wheelbarrow arm, and then I can run a board from this point to the other side. I think that might be the best. Yeah. So I have these pieces cut now, and I'm going to fasten this piece to the leg and then this to the arm, and that will make it structurally pretty good. And then I'm going to run a brace from underneath here to here, and then one across the top, and then probably one from this point to this point. And then once that's completed, then I can start working on the actual cradle, I guess, of the wheelbarrow. I'm going to be using this to move materials around, like a lot of logs and lumber. The legs are fastened in place now. Now I'm going to cut a brace between here, and then I can fasten it from underneath, which is going to work out pretty good. And this angle that I have seems to be working out very well, so I can use that same angle because it works its way out. I can get it to cut nice and flush here on the underside. But it looks like this leg might be angled in a little bit, and I think maybe that's because the arm is twisted a little. I don't know, but I'm going to have to figure out the measurement between here and here, and then make sure that it's the same here and here, and then that'll maintain its parallel structure. I thought before I put this bottom spacer in, I better secure the top, because if I put this in, it might push this out and then change this dimension. So I'm putting this piece in first, and then I'm going to put this in, and then we'll see where we're at. Now that the top piece is fastened, I flip this over, and now I can put this piece in, which is going to sturdy up the legs and stiffen them up. Yeah. Okay. I think I should maybe pre-drill. I'm going to take this out, pre-drill it, then put it back in. You can see how tight this is. I mean, it's not that tight, but it's tight. I'm thinking I'd like to go over all the edges with a round over bit with my router. But I got to remember too that, I mean, it is a piece of outdoor equipment. I don't think I'm going to leave it outside all the time. But it is cedar. Well, we'll see. I've got this flip back over now. That's pretty solid. I think I'm going to move this forward a little bit, or maybe I'll cut another board. But I want to leave enough room in case I decide I want to change this wheel. Like maybe I might want to put a bicycle wheel or something with spokes in it, or maybe I might want to build something different altogether. But I think for now, the next thing to do is to build a brace here, so anything that I stack on here won't roll forward, and then have it braced back onto the arms, and then fill this in. And then that'll be a wrap for this project. It'll be time to get on to something else. I'm working on the front part of the wheelbarrow now, and I have these boards milled up, and I'm going to fasten them together, and then I'm going to fasten them to this part of the wheelbarrow, And then I'm going to make some braces back from this point up to secure this. So that's what I'm working on next. And we'll see how it goes. So this right here is going to be this piece. And I've made these pieces, and they're going to be fastened onto there to hold them together. So that's what I'm doing next. I'm going to put a little bit of glue and put some screws in. And once that's done, we're going to take this and then put it on here. Here's the piece all built for the end. I've got some bracing on the back that's going to help hold these together, and they're also going to serve as when we put the bracing on this part of the wheelbarrow. Maybe I'll show you that now. Yeah, so that's the idea. So now I'm going to run a brace from this point up to here. But I got to measure and cut, figure that out. It turns out that this angle here on the arm and this going up is 90 degrees, so I can use a 45-degree angle here and a 45 here, and then that'll work out well. But I'm just using this scrap piece of plywood. I'm going to cut a nice piece of cedar to go in here for both sides.